Yo, this is Groovin' and G, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're back in Renoise, and this is going to be the first episode exploring phrases inside of Renoise. Now, because my last episode was quite dense, I want to make this like a fun, short and sweet 10 or 15 minutes, which is still quite long, but I'm actually going to focus on time stretching inside of Renoise, and I'm going to show you how to do this inside the phrase editor. So I thought it might be more interesting for me to kind of go over the features of the phrase editor whilst I'm doing something a bit more practical. And this time stretch technique's pretty fun and cool, and you can do lots with it. And it's actually really simple. To start with, each of these instruments has its own phrase editor, and the phrase editor is unique to the instrument. So when you save an instrument away, it will save all the phrases. Now what we're going to do first of all is I've got just a drum break here, but you could have any sample. And I'm going to create a kind of template for time stretching. And the reason I'm going to do this is because you can copy phrases. So I can copy all the time stretch data from this template down into another phrase window. And so I can just reuse all this stuff I'm going to create over and over again. So let's quickly just name this. And let's get off. So the way this works, if I just explain it, is what we're going to do is we're going to re-trigger the sample loads and loads of times, and we're going to make it move along the ruler using the slice command. So the slice command, which is SXX, basically whenever you trigger it, so if I do C4 and then I say go to slice 00, it's going to trigger at 00. But if I did it at S50, it would trigger at S50. Now when I have markers in, the slice command will go to the marker. So S01, 02, 03 will trigger the markers. But when you've got no markers in, it's going to go to this ruler. And that's what we're going to use. So this is actually really easy. All you got to do is put in C4, which is the root note, which is what this responds to, and you copy it with Command C, and then you just press Command P to paste continuously all the way down. And then you come to the effects section and you press S for the S command. You copy it and then you paste it all the way down. Go to the end, put FF at the end, and then I'm holding Shift and Alt and I'm pressing Home to select all the way back up, and then I'm pressing Command I, and it's going to interpolate the sample from start to end, and we're re-triggering it loads and loads of times, and it's moving along the position of the chop. So if I play this, it sounds really mental. Now one of the things you've got to play with is this lines per beat. I should mention now, the reason I do this in the phrase editor, or why I prefer to, is because the lines per beat in the phrase editor is independent of the overall lines per beat in this window. So you can keep your resolution nice in this window, what you're used to using, but then you can have these lines per beat with whatever you want, and it's going to be independent. So if we go down to 1 maybe. So you can hear that's actually time stretching now kind of half the speed I want. So one of the problems, or one of the things you want to address when you're time stretching drum breaks, is you want to have a perfect loop of some sort, 1 bar, 2 bar, 4 bar, whatever it is, because that's what you're trying to fit. You're trying to fit a perfect loop inside this space in Renoise. So if we come back to the wave editor and we go home, it's right here on this double kick here. Let's zoom right in. I'm going to put a slice in, select all of that, delete it. And then now when we come back to the phrase editor and change the lines per beat again, so you can hear it's quite glitchy, but that's kind of the time stretch effect. And now it's warped that break to our track. And if I speed it up, so this is actually going at the right speed, but you can hear it's jumping loads. And so what we've got to do is copy this, and we're actually going to change the number of lines in this phrase, and then we're going to do the same thing again, copy and paste, go to the end, go FF. And what I'm doing now is I'm essentially changing the resolution of the time stretch by having more chops doing the same thing. It's going to hopefully sound much better. So that's at the half speed again. If I go up to 8. So that's running at 170, so it's got it a bit tighter. This is what it sounded like before. So you can keep going and going and going. Let's go again, and let's go 1 to 8, and we're going to copy this, paste continuously, copy, paste continuously, go to the end, and then now. And then we've got to speed it up again. So now we've got the funky drummer rolling at 170, but we haven't changed the pitch of it. If I come here and play it, okay, and this is what it would sound like with beat sync on. Oh, we've got to go to maybe 32. With beat sync, it's pitching the sample up to warp it to your BPM. But with the phrase editor, it's actually using kind of an old school time stretching technique which doesn't affect the pitch. It just kind of does this granular style chopping. And you can keep going with this. So let's do one more. 1, 2, 8, 2, 5, 6. And it's actually such a super simple technique to do, and you can use this for so many things. So we're going to get into this in a minute, but now we've got to go up to 32 maybe to make it work. And that's sounding pretty tight to me. Forget to warping a break to your track. This is sounding pretty cool. So if you want to take this further, maybe, I mean, you could go, we'll try the max and see how it sounds while we're here, why not? 256, 512. Okay, and come on P, end, and let's interpolate this. So the thing is, with all this work we're doing now, creating all these variations, we can save this all away. And then we've got to go to 64 now. Oh, it's kind of gone a bit too granular there. It's gone a bit crazy. So, yeah, going too much doesn't always work in your favor, and it will start to kind of glitch out and it just doesn't work perfectly. There's kind of like a balancing act to finding the right resolution with the lines in the phrase compared to the lines per beat. So what we can do, if we come to a blank template, is we can actually just put in, trigger the phrase. So this is just going to repeat this phrase now. And we can just select this area and we can render to sample. And now we've got our funky drummer break rolling, time stretched in the phrase editor and rolling at our project tempo. And so it's a bit more malleable. You can go and kind of change this and do what you want with it. Or you can just leave it in this phrase editor and work with it that way. That's the basis of this time stretch technique. Now you can go pretty crazy with this. So when you want to do time stretch something else, all you do is you copy this template to a new window, and then you find a bit of audio that you like. So I've got this kind of bit of a ragga, stabby, synthy thing, and I actually just paste it into the waveform of the time stretch sample. So it's in there, and then now if I come back to this window, I've got all my phrases still here. So that's pretty crazy. If you've got like weird silence at the end, it can kind of sound strange. So you kind of want to get rid of that. And then let's try some of these other ones. So the resolution is going up there, but what you can do, now we've got all these resolutions. If you see, I've got that, I've kind of gone up through them. Maybe we should have had a 16 as well. So if I go and duplicate this one and have a 16 at the start and put this at FF and go to the top and do this. And you can play with the lines per beat on any of these ones to give you a completely different sounding. Maybe I'll do a different sample actually, because that's just going to annoy me, I think. What I've been using this for mainly is like warping drum breaks like I've just shown you. And I do it a lot for vocals. So if I can find a vocal here.
This is a real murder tune.
This is cool. So let's try this. And back into the phrases.
This is a real murder tune.
One thing I should also mention is it's got this loop button here. So this is just going to keep looping and looping the phrase unless you turn it off. And you can turn it off by just sending a note off message in this window. Maybe I create a blank pattern right at the start and I just have this vocal.
This is a real murder tune.
And so you can just fit stuff in perfectly. You know, the other way you would do it, I guess, would be to put markers, slice markers, into all of these parts and then trigger them on the grid and use loops and stuff to kind of meld it all together. But this time stretch technique actually just makes your life a lot easier, and it's so simple to set up. You can just copy whatever you want into these templates, and it's just going to warp it to your beat, and you just got to figure out the resolution by playing with the lines per beat at the bottom here and the amount of lines per phrase to see which one works best. What I use it for a lot actually, if I just solo this track, is making these kind of cool drum noises where I've gone in here and I've just taken a hit of, I think it's of the think break, and then I've got loads of different variations of like, they're kind of just different rhythms of the hit which you can create so simply. So that's the basis of the technique. I'm going to show you the track I create, which kind of demonstrates how you can kind of fit all these little fills and jump hits and things into your song. And I've used this technique quite a lot in this demo track just to show you how it goes. So I know today wasn't specifically of like what you'd think you use the phrase editor for, but I just wanted to show you this time stretch technique because it's fun and it's cool, and yeah, I hope you have fun with it. So yeah, keep it real, keep it safe, big up yourselves. Wicked, wicked, jungle is massive, jungle is massive, jungle is massive, jungle is massive.
Now the race is not for the swift, only who can endure it. Only the fittest of the fittest shall survive. And when you start to survive, just keep yourself alive. Said.
Every day another imposter, one come take away we place. Everywhere we go, there's another one come pointing our face.